Have you ever felt truly invisible? Like your efforts, your struggles, your very presence were just a whisper lost in a hurricane? That's exactly how I felt. Day in and day out, the routine blurred. I'd wake up, go through the motions, and by evening, the only thing I felt was a profound, aching emptiness. It wasn't about grand failures or dramatic setbacks. It was the slow, insidious erosion of hope that comes from unacknowledged effort. I was working tirelessly, pouring my heart into my projects, trying to make a difference, but it felt like I was shouting into a void. Each email sent, each task completed, was met with a deafening silence. No feedback, no recognition, just the relentless hum of expectation. It started to chip away at me, making me question my purpose, my value, everything. The world seemed to keep spinning, vibrant and alive for everyone else, while I was stuck in a muted, monochrome existence. The weight of that silence was suffocating, making it harder and harder to find the motivation to keep going. I was teetering on the edge, wondering if it was all even worth it. Then, one Tuesday morning, amidst the usual flood of generic work emails, one subject line stood out. It wasn't urgent, it wasn't a demand, and it wasn't a request. It simply read, "Thank you." My finger hovered over it, a mix of skepticism and a tiny spark of curiosity bubbling within me. Was this a mistake? A mass email gone wrong? I braced myself for another disappointment, for a hidden agenda, but something compelled me to open it. It was from someone I barely knew, a colleague I'd only interacted with briefly on a shared project. The email was short, concise, but every word resonated deep within me. It specifically mentioned a small, seemingly insignificant contribution I had made, a detail that I had spent extra time perfecting, thinking no one would ever notice. It was just a few lines, acknowledging my effort, expressing genuine appreciation for something I thought had gone completely overlooked. In that moment, it felt like a tiny ray of sunshine had pierced through the dense clouds that had been shadowing my days. It was so unexpected, so pure, that it caught me completely off guard. It wasn't a promotion, it wasn't a bonus, and it certainly wasn't a grand gesture. It was just one simple "thank you." But in that moment, it felt like everything. It wasn't just the words, it was the recognition that someone had actually seen my effort, that my work hadn't gone unnoticed, that I wasn't just another cog in the machine. It validated every late night, every extra hour, every moment of self-doubt I had battled through. It made me realize that even the smallest contributions can have a ripple effect, even if we don't always see them. This wasn't about ego, it was about human connection. It was about knowing that your existence matters, that your actions have an impact, however small they may seem. It reminded me that we all crave that basic acknowledgement, that feeling of being valued. It's a fundamental human need that often gets lost in the fast-paced, results-driven world we live in. That email was a mirror, reflecting back to me a value I had almost forgotten I possessed. That single email didn't just change my mood for the day, it began to subtly shift my entire perspective. Before, I had been focusing solely on the lack of external validation, on the silence. But now, I started to look inwards, to appreciate the effort I was putting in, regardless of whether it was noticed. The thank you was a catalyst, reminding me that my intrinsic motivation, my passion for what I do, was still there, just buried under layers of disappointment. It made me question, how many times have I done something impactful without knowing it? How many unsung heroes are out there, quietly making a difference? It wasn't about expecting praise for everything, but about understanding the profound impact that genuine appreciation can have. It taught me that while external validation is nice, true fulfillment comes from knowing you've done your best, and that sometimes, all it takes is one person to acknowledge that to reignite your spirit. It was a powerful lesson in resilience and the quiet dignity of simply showing up and doing the work. Inspired by that feeling, I decided to pay it forward. If one simple "thank you" could make such a difference for me, imagine what it could do for someone else. I started looking for opportunities to express gratitude, not just for grand gestures, but for the small acts of kindness and diligence that often go unnoticed. I began to write my own thank you emails, to send quick messages of appreciation to colleagues, friends, and even strangers who had helped me in some small way. It felt awkward at first, like stepping out of my comfort zone. Would they think it was strange? Would they even care? But I pushed through that initial hesitation. I noticed how my interactions with people started to change. A simple acknowledgement, a word of thanks, seemed to open doors, foster better communication, and build stronger connections. It was a ripple effect, a positive chain reaction initiated by one small act of kindness. I was no longer just a recipient of good, I was an active participant in spreading it. The impact was astonishing. That one thank you wasn't an isolated event, it was a pebble dropped into a pond, creating ever-widening circles. My colleague who sent the initial email? We started collaborating more closely, sharing ideas, and truly becoming a team. The atmosphere in our shared projects lightened. People seemed more willing to help each other, more open to feedback, simply because they knew their efforts wouldn't go unacknowledged. I saw others starting to adopt a similar approach, a culture of appreciation slowly taking root. It wasn't forced or performative, it was genuine. Projects that once felt like individual battles now felt like collective endeavors. The sense of isolation I had felt began to dissipate, replaced by a feeling of belonging and mutual respect. It wasn't just about work anymore, it extended into my personal life. I found myself expressing gratitude more freely to my family and friends, noticing the positive shift in our relationships too. It was as if a dormant part of me had awakened, allowing me to see the good in others and, by extension, in myself. It also taught me the courage of vulnerability. To give a genuine thank you, you have to be open, to acknowledge someone else's positive impact on you. And to receive one, you have to allow yourself to be seen, to accept that you are worthy of that recognition. For so long, I had built walls around myself, fearing disappointment and dismissal. But that initial thank you cracked those walls, allowing a little light in. It made me realize that showing appreciation isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength, of humility, and of a deep understanding of human connection. It's about recognizing that we are all interconnected, that our actions, big or small, can truly make a difference in someone else's life. It encouraged me to be more authentic, to express my feelings more openly, and to connect with people on a deeper, more meaningful level. This newfound openness extended beyond just giving thanks. It allowed me to share my struggles and triumphs more freely, knowing that I was part of a supportive community. The biggest change, however, wasn't just in my external interactions, it was within me. That one thank you had done more than just lift my spirits, it had fundamentally shifted my self-perception. I began to approach my work with renewed enthusiasm, not driven by the need for external validation, but by a genuine passion and a deeper sense of purpose. I trusted my abilities again. The self-doubt and negativity that had plagued me for so long began to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence. I learned to appreciate the journey, the process, and the simple act of doing my best, knowing that my efforts, even if unseen, were still valuable. It taught me that while we can't control how others react to us, we can control our own attitude and our willingness to connect. I became more proactive, more resilient, and, ultimately, a happier and more fulfilled individual. The weight I had carried for so long had lifted, replaced by a lightness of spirit I hadn't felt in years. This isn't just my story, it's a universal truth. We all yearn to be seen, to be heard, to know that our efforts matter. And, sometimes, all it takes is one genuine thank you to change everything for someone. Think about it. A kind word to a busy barista, a quick note to a dedicated teacher, an email to a diligent colleague, a sincere appreciation for a family member. These small gestures cost us nothing, but can mean the world to another person. They can pull someone back from the brink of despair, reignite a lost passion, or simply remind them that they are not alone. It's a powerful tool we all possess, often underutilized. Let's not underestimate the profound impact of acknowledging others, of genuinely thanking them for their presence, their work, their kindness. It's a simple act that can create a cascade of positivity, transforming not just the recipient, but also the giver. So, I challenge you today. Think of one person who has made a difference in your life, however small. Someone whose effort went unnoticed, or whose kindness brightened your day. Reach out to them. Send them that email, make that call, write that note. Tell them thank you and mean it. You might think it's just a small thing, but trust me, it could be the one thank you that changes everything for them. And in doing so, you might just find that it changes everything for you too. Because gratitude isn't just about acknowledging others, it's about opening your own heart to the abundant good in the world. Let's make a conscious effort to spread more gratitude, to create a world where everyone feels seen, valued, and appreciated. One thank you, one ripple, one changed life at a time.